Do you breathe purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors? Now, time for the most in-depth look at the world of ECU athletics. Welcome in to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Now, here's your host, Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. It is Hoist the Colors on a Monday, new week ahead, March 10th edition of the show. A lot going on in Pirate Athletics. ECU women's basketball in the AAC tournament. Got a win last night over Memphis. They take on North Texas. Tonight in the quarterfinals, ECU softball with a 4-0 week win over Michigan. Sweep at UTSA. Pirate baseball drops the series to Coastal Carolina after a memorable and just one of the best pitching performances you will see Ethan Norby on Friday night, which we'll get into, but ECU loses the series. ECU basketball, after beating Tulane, plays its worst game of the season to wrap up the regular season. We'll tell you the ramifications of that and a whole lot more. We are live on YouTube and Facebook. I believe X is down or at least having some sort of issues. I tried to send out our usual tweets when our live stream goes, but it seems to be having some issues. So join us on YouTube and Facebook, and we will get to your comments throughout the show. I'm sure plenty of people have much to say about the baseball team as the Pirates sit under 500 through 15 games, 7-8, a rarity under Cliff Godwin. Coach Godwin will join us on today's edition of the show. We recorded that this morning. He touched on some of the situations they're going through right now. Basically, it sounds like a good chunk of the team is battling the flu. Guys are throwing up, so he's not going to make excuses, but that is a factor as ECU gets ready for a 5-game week. Philip Pilkington is back in the 94.3 The Game studios with intern Chris. And Philip, it was an eventful weekend, to say the least, some ups and downs, but how are you doing on this Monday?
I'm good. Wish the results would have been a little bit better, obviously, but it was cool to see Norbs do what he did on Friday night. Obviously, you don't get to witness that every day in college baseball or in any level of baseball, and it was overshadowed a little bit by Charlotte's pitcher the same night throwing a no-hitter. Full disclosure, Charlotte's pitcher wrapped up the no-hitter during a review in the bottom of the 8th inning of the ECU game. We were all watching it in the press box, and in the words of Stephen Igo, we all committed a cardinal sin. We were actually pulling against the guy. You're supposed to pull for him, but myself, Chip, Chris, were you there Friday night? No, Chance was there with us and Patrick Mason, and we were all cheering against him because we wanted to make sure that Norbs got the conference pitcher of the week. I don't think they put out those accolades yet as of 12:03 this afternoon.
Yeah.
I mean, we would check Twitter to see, but Twitter's not working, so we wouldn't know.
I just went to the American.org. It looks like not, as of, like you said, 12:03, there has not been a release. Now, I stated that if there's ever a week for co-pitchers of the week, this would be the one. And look, I get the argument, and I'm all for it. As an ECU reporter, I am all for it. Look, to me, a 19 strikeout, no-walk performance is more impressive than what a 9 or 10K no-hitter. I don't know. Obviously, both of them are phenomenal. But as Scott Lorbatcher pointed out, he'll be on Bucks of the Pond later tonight, we'll have that podcast as well, recapping baseball. There have been, I think, like 240-something no-hitters, if not a lot more, in Major League Baseball history, and there's been 19 strikeout or better performances. So, going out there and just carving dudes up, to me, is more impressive than just, a no-hitter where it just so happened the ball happened to find every glove, and he struck out some guys along the way. But, we're arguing semantics. I am curious to see how they handle that. The American Conference, I know some of the people over there, they do a great job. I'll just say, Philip, they don't have the best history when it comes to these awards. I feel like they don't make the right decision in some cases. I do feel like in this case, even if they don't give out co-pitchers of the week, which I feel like they have in the past, giving out co-players, got to be a week to do it. I mean, you said until you set the American Conference all-time record for strikeouts and you had a no-hitter. So, I don't see how you can pick one over the other.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, either do co-pitchers or make one the pitcher and one the player of the week and tell all the hitters, sorry, you don't get any accolades this week. You could do something. What kind of made it more impressive too? We were talking about it earlier, off air. Like he wasn't, or maybe we talked about it when we were talking to Cliff. I can't remember. That he wasn't out there pumping 97, 98. Like he was striking all these dudes out, like topping out at 91 or 92. It's just because he's got such good location. He's got pretty good movement on his fastball. And to top it off, it wasn't like a lot of them were just hacking. I mean, he was freezing hitters. They had no idea what was coming. He stayed in the groove. I mean, he struck out every batter in the first inning looking. I have never seen a pitcher go the first inning all looking, the second inning all swinging, or even vice versa. I'm sure it's happened, but I can't recall it. And that really showed. And the looking stayed throughout. It wasn't like that was quit after the first inning. It was about 50-50, and it just shows how precise he can be.
Yeah, I mean, he struck out 16 of the first 18 batters he faced. Like, I mean, what is that? That is impossible. I mean, like I can't even do that in a video game on rookie mode. So like, I don't know. And what even made it more impressive is that Coastal Carolina, the next few days, you saw how good they were offensively. So I don't know. CBA 0125 says, I never understood why people were struggling against Norby until I sat behind home plate or I saw behind home plate the ball moves like crazy. Yeah, Pitching Ninja had a video of his two-seam fastball, which just rides to his arm side at the last minute, and then his slider off of that, which obviously dives to the back foot of a righty, and he was basically unhittable. And he hides the ball well. He's got a really good arm slots, a really tough arm slot, especially on lefties. So you can see the problems there that he presents. CBA also wants to know, is he pitching too well to move him back to the bullpen when everyone is healthy? Look, I'll be the first to say I was 100% on this team. This pitching staff is better with Ethan Norby in the bullpen. But, I mean, look, I mean, you can't take him out of the rotation at this point. Maybe later in the season if he starts to throw too many innings. But, like, he's the one guy that's giving you consistency and length right now, and that's what you want on Friday. Because, honestly, Phillip, and we'll get more into the series as a whole, but, like, Sunday's game, from a process standpoint, obviously Saturday did not go well, but I thought Sunday played out exactly how ECU wanted. You got a phenomenal start from Lance Williams. You got your two guys in the bullpen, Brad Pruitt and Ethan Young, following them up. It's the same formula they used against Virginia Tech. It just so happened it did not work as well this time, mainly because they couldn't get a hit with a runner in scoring position, which we'll get into. But I thought the weekend actually played out kind of how you envision it outside of the Saturday game, getting away from you early. And it just so happened Coastal got the big hit. ECU did not.
I agree that it kind of planned out the way you wanted to. I think that might kind of be the model for Sunday going forward, at least until we start to get some guys back. Now, obviously, we know Cliff Godwin. He's going to do what he has to do to win on Friday, to win on Saturday. So don't be shocked if one of those guys has to come in that we just named, who's kind of part of the Sunday group of guys. Obviously, we'll see Ethan Young usually on Fridays at some point if it's a close game, but don't be surprised if they throw Saturday and it throws a little kink in Sunday. He's very much, it can always rain tomorrow. He said that's what his dad always told him. Maybe it was his youth baseball coach. So, but I like it the way it is right now. As for Ethan Norby, as of now, no, you cannot move him. Now, with that being said, there's another reason you can't move him is because Ethan Young is doing a very good job in the spot we thought Ethan Norby would be in the bullpen. Now, if Antolik or Towers is not great out of the pen, doesn't seem to inherit runners well, but it seems to be showing signs of being able to go deep, and that gets paired with Norby's not throwing as good as he is now. Now, obviously, we're not going to get what we got last Friday night every time out, but still, he's been consistent. If that consistency, especially in that fourth, fifth inning, starts to fall off, and he appears to be a guy who is just better in a short stint, then this can happen. But I don't think it can be like, oh, Ryan Towers is back. Let's just go ahead and throw him in Friday night or throw him in Saturday, move Sean up, and Norby's in the bullpen. There has to be something that changes in order for that to change. that change has to be in a performance in order to make the rotational change. So right now, he needs to be the Friday night guy. A lot can happen. Long season, 16-week season, and we're through 4 weeks of it. So only a fourth of the way done.
No doubt. Still a lot of baseball left. And, I know we're getting comments about the at-large picture going forward, and some of that stuff. We'll get into that in a minute. I do want to read some comments here. Casey Rameli says the ECU offense was so bad it broke Twitter. Jonathan Wagner says gooder. Lane Smith says this is not going to be baseball's year. Way too inconsistent pitching and hitting. We don't have a single clutch hitter in the lineup. I don't see us winning the conference 2-3 week incoming. I'll say this: if ECU goes 2-3 this week, I mean that is bad. William & Mary is not good. VCU is not good. And this is a get-right week. And the problem is ECU's dealing with sickness. We'll hear from that with Coach Godwin in a few minutes. But if ECU does not go 3-2 at minimum, probably need to go 4-1 or better this week, I'm starting to have some concerns. I already have some concerns from a few different perspectives. I think this team has a swing and miss problem right now. They need to, 1 for 16, 9 strikeouts with runners in scoring position. They're striking out too much right now, specifically not making adjustments on breaking pitches. In my opinion, yes, sometimes you get fooled with a 2-strike fastball and get beat, but just a lot of soft stuff that they're swinging through right now are just not even getting close to. And they're going to have to make that adjustment or they're going to keep getting the spin. But either way, and then on the mound, just too many freebies. Look, the arms are good enough, but you're not throwing enough strikes. And when you're not throwing enough strikes on the mound consistently and you're striking out too much at the plate in big moments, that's going to add up after a while. So they have to figure out those issues. Runners at second and third, no one out and getting no runs in that situation is inexcusable. I think Cliff Godwin would say the same, especially with their philosophy. So look for them to maybe incorporate some more small ball and get those things done. But the other side of it is, Philip, we're one hit away from feeling much different. You get one hit, you have a series win over a top 25 team. You get one hit in Durham against UNC on that Saturday game. You're feeling a lot better about yourself in those situations. And until this team has that breakthrough moment, we're going to have those doubts as fans, and we have to see that play out in the field first. But that's my concern right now. I see too, Philip. I see some guys who are, scared of the moment right now. I'm just going to call it like I see it, and I want to see somebody step up in one of those moments, get that big spark going, and then I think the team will feed off that. But we have not seen this team really have that moment yet. I do think it's coming. It's just a matter of when.
So being scared of the moment, because that's kind of what I want to hit on right now, that's a mental thing. And part of the reason guys are a little scared of the moment, I think, is because they're not producing consistently as they want to. This week, for 5 days, this will be the worst pitching East Carolina has seen for an entire week all year. There is going to be a big inning this week at some point. They're going to score 6-7 runs, and it's going to be a lot of singles and doubles. It's not going to be, hey, we walked 3 times and hit a grand slam. There's going to be a big inning. Do you allow that big inning to serve as a foundation to grow your confidence so that you can hit in big situations, so that you can prove to yourself, because there's a lot of freshmen, hey, I can hit college baseball arms. Even though these guys are going to be closer to the guys they saw in high school than some of the guys you would see in a regional, there's something about the mental step of getting over it and saying, hey, you know what, now I can hit D1 pitching. Do you build off that big inning when it comes? Or is that big inning just a small bright spot in what has been a start to the season? There's a lot of opportunity here this week. I know big opportunities are when you play big teams, but when you're struggling, and a lot of the struggle is mental, not lack of talent, sometimes those opportunities come from kicking the crap out of somebody you're supposed to kick the crap out of. And let's call it what it is. As disappointed and maybe as frustrated as the players, the coaching staff, the fans, and the media are, you will be 100% the better team in all 5 games. Am I saying they should 100% go 5-0? No, it's college baseball. Look, we saw Virginia Tech that week win a game 36-1, something else to 5, and then lose a game 9-8 to some crap team. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Bucknell. So I'm not saying they have to go 5-0, but what I'm saying is you have to go out and prove you are still a good college baseball team. The talent is there. You are better than these teams, and hopefully you build off that when you do that. You build off that confidence. You carry it into next week when conference play starts, and you're back to seeing teams that you're going to see the rest of the season.
VCU with a 6.11 ERA through 14 games on the mound. William & Mary with a 10.65 ERA through 15 games on the mound. So William & Mary really struggling, and I do think VCU is better. That won't be an easy series, but again, Cliff Godwin will get into it here in a little bit. I think it's a situation where, honestly, if ECU shows up with intent, I think that's where you see this team kind of take off. But it has to be daily, which Cliff Godwin hit on this weekend. Casey Ramaley, before we get a break, also mentioning that Coastal's defense in the infield was unbelievable. Barthol and Ty were remarkable. Yeah, their shortstop was incredible. And he had Dooley had the home run on Saturday to spark the 5-run inning. So they saved a ton of hits and from their pitching staff. So Coastal's good, man. They're good.
I do want to say that. Kaysen's right, because I've been thinking about that. This is probably the best defensive team we've seen, especially infield-wise. And Carolina's a darn good baseball team. And, I'm not saying Carolina's definitely a better team than Coastal, but Coastal might be, at this point in the season, slightly better defensively. And the one thing I do want to say about Saturday, as tough as Saturday was, their plate appearances in that game were some of the most mature, forward, good plate appearances I've seen in a long time. How many times did we get 2 strikes on a guy, throw a strike and spot our pitch perfectly, and the guy fouls it back to the screen and waits till he gets his pitch and finds a way to drive it down the line? Now, I know you need to get those put-out pitches, and that was frustrating, but that team's defense and that team's maturity at the plate had a lot to do with why East Carolina didn't win this series. And the reason I bring that up is, yes, it's frustrating because a lot of things have not gone our way this year, but that was a darn good baseball team.
No doubt. Coastal very good, and they'll have a chance to host. And their starting arms, they didn't even have their Friday night guy. I'm not as sold on their bullpen after seeing them in person, but I think their lineup, their defense, their starters are as good as ECU's going to see all year. All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll have our chat with Cliff Godwin. We recorded this morning. Patrick Johnson, myself, talked to Cliff. We'll have that on the other side. This is Hoist the Colors on a Monday.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master.
Here there, big pirates. Back to Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo. How good is this? On 94.3 The Game.
We are live. It is our weekly visit with East Carolina head baseball coach Cliff Godwin. Stephen Igo here. Patrick Johnson alongside as well. Coach Godwin is with us on this Monday. And, Coach, interesting week for sure. You guys win the first two of the week. Challenging game in Fayetteville against Gardner-Webb. You guys win 11-8. Huge performance by Ethan Norby on Friday against Coastal Carolina to take the opener. 9-1 finish on Saturday, and then Sunday goes to extras. Coastal finds a way to win 4-3. Just your initial thoughts on the week that was with Pirate baseball.
Well, starting, in Fayetteville, I thought, our guys, showed up, and I thought we were pretty, much ready to play. It was a very, very hitter-friendly strike zone. So it took, an older guy like Jake Hunter to really navigate that, where you have to throw it over the white to be called a strike. And I thought Gardner-Webb did a really good job of just not chasing out the zone because they knew what the strike zone was. But we did get behind, and our guys fought back, and, Jake closed the game out, and it was awesome. And then you go to Friday, and Norbs was unbelievable. And I try to tell our guys that, I've been coaching for, I think, 22 years. And I've never seen a performance like that. And we've had some really good pitchers here that have had great performances, but I've never seen anything like that. I mean, obviously, when you break this single game AAC strikeout record, it's a pretty special performance. And just the way he did it with the pitch count, the limited number of pitches, because he was ahead of guys. And then Sunday, we just didn't show up ready to play. And I mentioned we got about 13 guys with the flu. And guys are battling sickness, but regardless, we weren't ready to play, and that's on me. And then yesterday, I thought Lance Williams was outstanding. He was ahead of guys, attacking the strike zone. Offensively, I thought that, I know you guys are going to talk about, we're 1 for 16 with guys on, but offensively, we put together tougher at bats. Our guys were ready to play, even with the guys that, were sick. And Colby Wallace and Dixon and Boucher, all those guys are battling something, and Drew Downs wasn't available yesterday because he's got the flu. But some good individual performances. Braden Burris had a great day. Walker Barron had a great day. Dixon swung the bat pretty good. And, we just couldn't get guys in from third base less than 2 at the level we needed to. And it's not crazy. We were 2 for 7, but if we just do 1 or 2 of those and move the baseball, I think we struck out 4 of those times. The game's different. Also, we had 11 freebies on the mound. So if we just eliminate 1 or 2 of those, then we win the baseball game. So we're close, and I don't care what I think. I know that we're going to be good, and we're going to be where we need to be at the end of the year. And we're going to be with the guys that believe that ECU baseball is going to be where we need to be at the end of the year.
Cliff Godwin with us here on this Monday. Coach, you mentioned, one hit here or there, 1 less walk. You guys are feeling much different on this Monday morning. So, I don't know, with a newer team, do you have to try and remind them of that and tell them to stay off social media, not listen to the noise? I know you always say that, but even at a time like this, do you reemphasize it at all?
Well, I've said it the whole year, and I keep saying it. And, this is our story. No offense. It's not our fan story. It's not the media story. People counted us out in 2022, and that seemed to have worked out well for us. So I'm not saying this team is the exact team, but we're not healthy. We're going to get healthy. And we're continuing to get better. I mean, you can see us growing if you actually know what you're watching. Now, we still got to get better at some of the small details of the game and understand that those little small things can get you beat. But it's a pitch here, it's a pitch there, whether it be on the offensive side of the ball or the pitching side of the ball. And if we do that, there's going to be some synergy for sure. And, our guys are going to start feeling that confidence. But our guys fought yesterday. I mean, look, it had been very easy, not to have come from behind and tie the game up and, go to extra innings. And, Jake Hunter did not lose the game. We lost the game well before the solo home run. I can tell you that. But our guys fought to the end, which I was proud of.
Coach, you said after Friday's game, you've never seen anything like what Ethan Norby did. I don't know. It was almost like you said video game like, and almost hard to fathom watching it unfold. Will that be one you always remember just because of how dominant he was, striking out the first 9 guys and then 19 and 0 walks too. 19 to 0 walks. So it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and you look in, I think he threw 103 pitches and 7 in the third. I mean, you strike out that many guys and only throw that number of pitches, you're in the zone a lot. And he made it look easy. But the thing I'd like for you media people to put out there is that's because the guy is super diligent with his daily process of what he needs to do to be the best pitcher in the country. And it doesn't always show up like that on a Friday night when he's starting. But the guy was supposed to be in the bullpen, and he's just continued to stack days. I mean, going back to last year, his freshman year, one of his first outings at Old Dominion, he wasn't good. He was bad. And then at the end of the year, he's starting a must-win game against Evansville to get us to the championship game on Monday. And the guy's super competitive, but he values the work he puts in at a very when his attention to detail is at a very high level, and he's a true pirate. The guy loves ECU baseball and would do anything in the world for us to have success, and it just couldn't happen to a better human being, and I'm just so proud of him.
Cliff Godwin with us here. Great to have Coach with us after the Pirates have a 2-2 week. Struck out, as Igo said, the first 9 and 16 of the first 18 en route to that 19. You likened it to when you were at LSU, David Price's performance. The thing I thought was interesting, and we talked to Ethan about this on the coach's show, and he talked about a little bit about it, I think, after the game on Friday, and that is the opposing batter, because he works fast anyway, trying to, just break his rhythm. And it was interesting. He said he's kind of zeroed in on Walker Barron. Is that something you guys have worked with? It seems like Ethan's so locked in, that he's kind of come up, and you guys have given him the freedom to come up with what makes him comfortable out there so he can execute at the highest level.
Yeah, for sure. And, AK's having to delay when he calls the pitch in a little bit because Ethan can work a little bit too fast with the new rules and stuff. But, yeah, it's not a comfortable at bat for the hitters. They try to, look down because the rule is whenever your eyes are up, then he can pitch. But Norbs is ready to go when the guy steps in the box. So when your eyes come up, man, you better be ready to go. And, definitely when you're pounding the strike zone like he was with multiple pitches, it just makes it really hard on hitters.
And, I think last I remember on Friday, it was something like 23 out of 25 first he faced were first pitch strikes. I mean, it just goes to show you get that first pitch across in the zone, and then it really opens up the opportunity for whoever's pitching.
For sure. It definitely does. And, Norbs is just relentless in the strike zone. I mean, you can look at his strikeout for freebies, and it's really, really skewed one-sided. And when you get ahead of hitters, man, you can really put them on the defensive if you're able to throw multiple pitches for strikes. And he obviously does that at a high level.
They scratch out yesterday, just to go back to the game on Sunday, a single in, I think it was 6th, 7th, and 8th yesterday, Coastal I'm speaking of there. And then you come down in the 9th after having those opportunities. We're able to get to the top of the order and be productive. Burris, I thought, gave you, Coach, that kind of spark that you would really like to have, particularly from the top of the order. And in that particular inning, the whole game he did, but in that particular inning he did with some pretty tough at-bats.
Yeah, he's played tremendous, after he was, starting, opening weekend with some injuries and stuff. And after the first game, I think he tried to do too much. And then, he was coming off the bench couple weeks, and he's a team guy. Nobody has been recruited on our team like him from the level of I painted the worst possible picture for him to come here because I played with his dad in high school and told him not to ruin our friendship. I wore number 16 in high school because of his dad, and then also, wore 16 at East Carolina because his dad led us to the state championship. And, Braden's had to earn everything he's ever gotten in life. When you're that size, like a Turner Brown, people always overlook you. And he's super competitive. And once he just settled in and was coming off the bench, you could just see the confidence grow. And he's got back to just being the best version of himself and hitting the ball the other way and getting on base and stealing bases and playing good defense in the outfield. So definitely there's a lot of positives that you can take, from this weekend with him. Walker Barron's putting together great at bats and catching every inning. Nick Moran was better, on Saturday. So Lance was awesome yesterday. So, like I said, we're growing, and I'm going to continue to coach these guys, and we're going to continue to get better.
Cliff Godwin with us on this Monday for our weekly chat. Cliff, I was going to ask I mean, you always learn as a coach every game, but with this year in particular, it's well documented how many, guys new to the program or first year in the program via various routes. How much are you guys as coaches right now just learning about the individual players from game to game and, who fits best where and who responds to this type of coaching versus that type of coaching, like in season right now, and how much of I don't know, is that an enjoyable process? I'm sure some growing pains with that, but also enjoyable to kind of figure out these guys as things go along.
Yeah, enjoyable is probably not the right word, but we're definitely figuring out our team as it goes. I mean, every day there seems to be right now a new obstacle. Like Drew Downs not being available yesterday, or Roger rolling his ankle in pregame on Saturday. And as long as our guys can stay committed to the process and not just feel like, hey, the woe is me. I mean, we're going to be very hardened at the end of the season because we've been through a lot with the injuries, with this flu, with guys just, rolling their ankle in pregame. I mean, pretty much anything imaginable, it seems like it can happen, but we're not going to lose confidence in ourselves. And we do have what it takes in that locker room to continue to play good baseball. And, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Coach LeClaire used to say that all the time. So I probably didn't understand it as a player as much as I should, but definitely understand it as a coach, and we'll continue to hammer those things. And we just got to get a little bit better. Like I said, it's one pitch here or one pitch there on the offensive side or the pitching side of the ball.
I think going into week 5, Coach, of you being in the dugout, not coaching third. So how have you enjoyed that process? And then at any point, would you consider going back to third, or are you in this for the long haul in the dugout?
It's allowed me to have more one-on-one conversations with guys, which I think, that's one of my strengths, just in game and stuff, and just being a calming presence, which I know people see me, my reactions to the umpires and stuff. But if you were in our dugout, I mean, when something goes bad, Coach Godwin's not losing his crap because nobody's trying to give up a home run or make an error or strike out. That's not going to be beneficial to our team. So to be that calming presence has been good for our guys. Look, every game's a new game. I'm not saying I'm never going to coach third base again, but at this time I'm going to stay in the dugout and continue to just invest in our players one-on-one.
Rightfully so too. The effort by Norby kind of overshadowed to a degree Colby Wallace. What a game what a weekend he had. But man, what a game he had Friday. Couple home runs. That was great to see. You'd moved him down, Coach, to 9 to take a little pressure off of him. You'd stated when he moved back up to third, perhaps out of some necessity. How do you think he performed yesterday with his ABs after really being effective Friday and Saturday?
Well, he had a couple quality bats, but look, Colby was not 100% yesterday. I'm not making excuses for him because I told the whole team, if you're good enough to play, man, we're not going to make excuses for you. But I mean, he ran a 4.85 down the line on that double play he hit into, and Colby could run backwards when he's healthy at a 4.85. So he was giving us everything he had yesterday. Colby's one of our best hitters. He's going to be in the middle of our lineup. He will be fine. I'm not worried about him. I have some problems. He's not one of them. I can tell you that.
And Coach Austin Irby, going back to the midweek, couple home runs for him. You've really solidified the infield. He's a big part of that over at first. So a little bit on Irby's play, the freshman for you, how you think he's progressing.
Irby's great. I think, he's learning how to handle success and how to, you hit a couple home runs, not to try to do too much the next game and just get back to hitting the ball in the middle of the field. And I think for any young hitter, when you have some success like that, it can become very easy to be pull happy, and then you're more susceptible to fastballs on the outer part of the plate and then also off speed. And I thought, yesterday he put together some better at bats than he did earlier in the weekend after the 2 home run game.
Cliff Godwin with us. Last few things for Coach. We'll get him out of here before a busy week. And just wanted to touch a little further on Lance Williams. Coach Godwin, I know he was originally obviously committed to you guys out of high school, had the injury, delayed his enrollment. Just talk about his progress since then. And man, he looked – when he's in the zone, he's pretty unhittable with some of his stuff. So his progress thus far, your thoughts on that?
Well, you can just see, man, every time out he's getting better, and AK's done a tremendous job with him. But the thing about Lance is, number one, he works his tail off. Number two, he's confident in his abilities, and he's not scared to be out there in the fire, and I say that. And some guys get nervous when, the fire's turned up, but Lance is not that. He had to, of course, rehab his arm after Tommy John surgery. We really didn't know if he would still come here. He wanted to come here. The guys love him. He's got a great personality. He's an East Carolina Pirate, man. It's been awesome to see him grow. And, when he has success, everybody's pulling for him.
And last thing for you, Coach, 5-game week ahead, always a challenge. Definitely when you're dealing with the flu or some type of sickness with that. 2 games at VCU over spring break, and then William & Mary for 3 and Clark LeClaire. Just the challenge of pitching on a week like this and also making sure your guys are getting enough rest and staying healthy. It sounds like with the sickness going through the team. How do you try to balance that as coach?
Well, we got to make sure they get healthy. That's the thing, and we were talking about before we got on the air. So, we have a breakfast this morning. We're on spring break at 9:30. I told the guys, if you're sick, don't come up here. And then the guys that are healthy are going to have breakfast, and they're going to lift weights at 10. And, we'll have a few meetings with some players and stuff to go over some things from this weekend, but really just trying to give them as much as rest as possible. And we'll take a bus up today at 4 up to Richmond. There might be one van that goes with us today that's got some guys that are kind of on the backside of the sickness. So hopefully they're not contagious. And then we're leaving some guys back that are not going at all. And then we're bringing a van tomorrow as well. So a lot of moving parts, but hey, we're going to get up there and put guys on the field that can play, and we're going to compete, and we're going to continue to get better. So it's another opportunity. Spring break, no class in baseball, best part of the year until exams are over, in my opinion.
No doubt. He is head coach Cliff Godwin. Coach, we appreciate the time as always on these Mondays. I know you're busy, so thank you so much. For Patrick Johnson, I'm Stephen Igo. We will be right back.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Looking for a great deal on a new Nissan?
At Greenville Nissan, we've got a great selection of new Nissans for under $30,000.
The stylish Nissan Sentra, offering top-notch fuel economy. The Nissan Altima, known for its comfort and technology.
The Nissan Kicks, the perfect combination with its compact design and performance. The Nissan Versa, delivering incredible value without compromising on features. And don't forget the Nissan Rogue, an award winner for 10 years in a row. Drive it home just for $22 down and $349 a month.
Visit GreenvilleNissan.com today.
Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in color. and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Pirate fans, 2025 East Carolina football season tickets are on sale now and can be purchased for as little as $115. Head coach Blake Harrell wants you to be a part of his first full season as the Pirate coach as he builds momentum off of the 8-win season and the Military Bowl win over North Carolina State. Call 1-800-DIAL-ECU or go to ECUPirates.com today to get your 2025 season tickets.
Back to Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo.
Drink up for me, Ozzy's yo ho.
194.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors here on a Monday. We just heard from Cliff Godwin. Appreciate his time. We got some more comments in the chat we'll try and get to here, and we're going to talk some basketball as well. Cameron says this ECU team is too young. We will need to win the AAC tournament to make the NCAA tournament. New drinking game, take a shot every time an ECU player strikes out with runners in scoring position. He says, honestly, though, we deserve a season like this considering we have ruined Clark LeClaire Stadium with the turf updates and season ticket holders pricing regular fans out of the seats. Cameron is in a tough mood. John Moody says, I don't envy Patrick or Steven one bit during these interviews. It's not that bad, John. Honestly, Cliff is intense, a highly competitive person. I will say, though, Cliff went out of his way after a game this weekend to want to come on and do the interview. So we do appreciate Cliff for doing that. He didn't have to do it. So, look, I think he enjoys talking with the media from the standpoint of kind of getting everybody to calm down a little bit, Philip, because let's be honest, right now, 7-8 is not a place East Carolina's used to be in. I think the fans are kind of looking for answers, and Cliff trying to provide some context as well. So I think it helps out all parties when he's willing to come on and do this.
Yeah, I think so. It just shows that he understands the frustration, that he's willing to talk to the fans, and I think when you're a fan and you hear from the coach, it does put your nerves at ease just a little bit, But at the end of the day, winning is what cures all, and I do think it's going to happen. It's just a matter of when, and if not if. Let's just hope the win's not too late in the season. But I do feel confident about this week. I think they can go 4-1, 5-0 this week. I mean, they can go 5-0 this week. I think they will go 4-1 or 5-0, and hopefully they can ride that into a tougher midweek next week and a tougher weekend series, obviously, next weekend.
All right, we'll talk basketball in a second. I just realized that women's lacrosse is playing in California today.
San Diego State.
San Diego State today, UC Davis Wednesday. And I got to be honest, unless I was on this trip, which I would love to go, lacrosse, a non-revenue sport playing in California. I know it's spring break, Philip, but I don't know. Kind of questionable there, but it is what it is. I guess we'll see how they perform. Basketball, speaking of heading west, they'll be going to Fort Worth for the conference tournament as they lost to FAU 81-53. And so I'll be honest, I was excited about following both baseball and basketball at the same time to an extent until about the second inning when things went off the rails. It was actually a competitive game for about a half of a half, to say it and it was a 14-11 game with 10:40 left in the first half. FAU went on a 15-0 run, and that was all she wrote. They dominated the game. ECU shot 17 of 58. That's 29%. They had one of those games from three-point range, Phillip, 2 of 15, 13% from three-point range. They got crushed on the glass, 47-33 after out-rebounding FAU by 19 in the initial meeting this year, so complete opposite there. You had the guy from FAU, the 6'10 guy, Baba Miller. He had a double-double, 14 and 12. Trey Carroll had a double-double, 17-11. RJ Felton from ECU went 3 of 15. So what happened in this game, I'll let you answer in a second. My take is this. FAU is one of the most talented teams in the league. First-year coach. I don't know how they have 8 conference losses, honestly. I think they have much more talent than that. They have one of the highest NIL numbers in the league, per my sources. They've got top 4 caliber talent. That all came together yesterday. They were hitting shots. ECU played horrifically in several phases, and I thought that they looked like they spent some time out in Boca the night before. I don't know. Obviously they didn't, but that's just what it looked like. Not a ton of energy, not a ton of physicality. So it was a combination of ECU playing its worst game of the year, FAU playing one of its best. You get a 28-point differential. And this is something we haven't seen, Phillip, from this team all season. So every game's been competitive, win or lose. So I am chalking this up to a fluke, and maybe it's a good thing you get this out of your system going to the conference tournament. I am choosing to take this glass half full.
Yeah, I'm with you. I am. You know, the interesting thing is we've always talked about in Coach Schwartz's tenure, when this team gets punched in the mouth, we have never once questioned their character. And I'm not questioning the character from yesterday because I just think it was one of those games. It really was. It was just everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Because I still think they gave effort and still fought, but it didn't like show up in the stat sheet or on the scoreboard. And usually when this team gets down under Coach Schwartz, he knows how to light a fire under their rear end, and they at least come back and make it competitive. They just looked bad. It wasn't that they didn't care. I didn't think it was that they, you know, when it started losing, they started feeling bad. They didn't tuck their tail between their legs and walk out of the arena. It just felt like once stuff went bad, it kept getting worse, and the harder they tried, the worse it got, and it was just unfortunate. But I think when you've got a third-year coach and you say this is the first time that's probably ever happened in his tenure, in 100 games-ish, you'll take that. And I'm with you. Glasses half full. You played probably the worst game you've played all year. It is what it is. There's good days in college basketball, and there's bad days in college basketball. You got one of the bad ones out of the way. Law of averages says you're going to play X amount of bad basketball games, and you got one out of the way. It is what it is, and you move on. And, yeah, it cost you a seed. Didn't even cost you a bye. Tulane won. All it did was change the time and the opponent of who you're playing. You still got to win 4 games in 4 days. Doesn't matter who you play. You just got to win the games in front of you. So, at the end of the day, should you care? Sure, but should it matter? Not that much.
Play Thursday at scheduled for 9 o'clock, but let's be real. There's a game at 7, so that means we're looking at the old 9:30-ish tip, Phillip, and I can't think of anything more miserable than covering a game at 9:30 and staying up past midnight writing about it. But if the Pirates can win, I'll deal with it.
You could be producing it.
That is true. Although at least you don't have to stay up and write the post game after. So.
That is true. I got to cut up Patrick's audio for him for the next morning.
Okay.
And
there you go.
Yeah, that's going to be my complaint.
UTSA is the opponent, and I'll be honest, we'll get more into this because we got to get a break in later this week. I am a little nervous because I think UTSA is an extremely dangerous team. We'll get more into that. The winner will face UAB. It is good. ECU is a combined 3-1 against UTSA, UAB, and North Texas during the regular season. That is their potential path to the conference title game. So we'll get more into the conference tournament in the days ahead. Let's get a break in. We'll come back, wrap up the show after this.
It's time to bring on the savings at Greenville Toyota with huge discounts on over 125 new Toyotas, like a Camry $269 a month or RAV4 $339 a month. Now bring yourself to Greenville Toyota and save.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Everybody loves tiebreakers.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout Eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
Your roof is a vital part of protecting your home and family from dangerous storms and hurricanes. At Assist Roofing, we install and maintain metal roofing that provides precise protection. Add value to your home while lowering utility costs with a fortified roof to last a lifetime. With 0% financing, grants, and Energy Star Green Roofing tax credit available. Call us to schedule a free consultation so you can weather any storm with confidence.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Get ready, because it's time to bring on the savings at Greenville Toyota. Get huge discounts on over 125 new Toyotas, like a Corolla, $239 a month, or Tacoma, $349 a month. Bring on the savings today at Greenville Toyota.
What's happening? Tell me what's happening.
Every ECU fan's one stop for all things ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors. Final few minutes here of the show on a busy Monday. Philip Pilkington back in the 94.3 The Game studio. Steve and I go here. Want to read a few more comments. We'll also discuss some big news over the weekend. John Moody says, Pirate Hoops appreciation post. Got to keep it going despite a tough game yesterday. Maybe they needed a little kick in the teeth before the tournament to bring them back down a little bit. So he's choosing the glass half full approach as well. Cameron adds Mike Schwartz needs a true 5 in the portal for next year. That's the main thing we are missing. Well, next year they're going to have to rebuild most of the roster at this point. Scott Lorebatcher says he'll be tuned in from the luxurious Great Wolf Lodge. I assume he's talking about the conference tournament, so enjoy that, Scott. And Kason Romeli says he'll see us in Raleigh as the Pirates face Tennessee in the Lenovo Center for a Mike Schwartz revenge game, 15-2 NCAA tournament round 1 game. Book it, write it down, see you both there. Philip, I know you've been big on this theory as well. I got to say, is it really a revenge game, though, when Mike Schwartz and Rick Barnes are still probably best friends?
Technically, no, but it's the new thing of college athletics that any time you're going against an old program, whether you're a player or a coach, regardless of how good or bad the departure was, we just call it a revenge game. So that's what we're doing. We're gonna call it that.
Speaking of revenge game, Kason Romeli would like a revenge game against NC State because they have fired his good friend, Kevin Keats. Kevin Keats out at NC State. Obviously, that news breaking yesterday. Not a huge surprise, and I told Kason this. I think it's the right move for NC State. Last year's run was magical. Keats got a deserved extension as a result. But, overall in his tenure the last few years, outside of that magical run, Philip, they haven't been too good. So it was all about the money. Could they get the money to buy him out? $7 million buyout. Sounds like they found it. So I think it's the right move for State, and he was there 8 years. He had a good run, but I believe it was time. Your thoughts on Keats being out?
Yeah, I agree with you. It was, like I said, it was about the money because, look, I remember when I was growing up, State made the tournament almost every year. Now, were they the threat to go deep? No, but they would be a 7 seed, an 8 seed. Every now and again, they'd find a upset in the second round and find their way into the Sweet 16. And State was just their little brother to Duke and Carolina, but they were still a decent basketball team. Under Kevin Keats, they haven't really been a decent basketball team. They've been a meh basketball team at best. And, yeah, they put together a great run last year. That's cool and all, but you've got to be more consistent year in and year out. And for a team that is, you know, far from a blue blood, but they're also far from a laughingstock. I mean, this team has won 2 national championships. Like I said, more times than not in history, has just been a tournament team. Look at the great names that have coached there. You got to produce somewhat.
Yeah, a lot of buzz about Ryan Odom, obviously the son of Dave Odom. He was a name that, honestly, I was hoping would go to ECU when ECU hired Dooley, but that's a name that ECU fans know well. Also talk about Will Wade, Justin Gainey, who's at Tennessee, another Rick Barnes guy, and former NC State player has been mentioned as well. All right, we're out of time. We got a lot to cover this week, so be sure to tune in daily, 12 noon. Tomorrow we'll have Mike Mullis on the show. Philip and I will also talk some NFL free agency at some point this week, conference tournaments, a lot to get to, so stay tuned. We'll see you tomorrow at 12 noon to keep the busy week rolling.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Tune in weekdays at noon for all things ECU sports. Get a recap of the show at 943thegame.com, on Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere you get your podcasts. We're back tomorrow with more of Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.